Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. Coming up, financial analyst Christian Tichijan projects a further increase of bad loans as banks write off 1.3 billion cedis in the first 6 months of this year as bad debt.
It worsening because aside the conditions of COVID, that a lot of people were in lockdown, people were not opening their shops. We are in a dispensation now where cost of credit has also become very high.
Plus, energy expert Nana Amwesi the says Ghana has lost the opportunity to witness a reduction in the next pricing window.
The IES was equally expecting that for this window, we should see price reduction, quite significant, not marginal one, more than 5% reduction. That translates into almost 68 pesos per litre. Unfortunately, we have lost out on that opportunity.
And later in the bulletin, farmers should expect free fertilizers soon as Yara International invests $20 million in free distribution.
Making sure that we are supporting the distribution chain and using the market systems approach. In order to ensure that the products will go to farmers, we are working in partnership with AFAP and other institutions.
I am Beverly Broom. Please stay for details. Hello and welcome. Let's take a look at the details now. Banks wrote off 1.3 billion cedis in the first 6 months of this year as provision for bad debts. That's according to the latest domestic money bank's income statement from the Bank of Ghana. The bad debts, which came as a result of loan losses, depreciation, among others, could worsen in the coming months following the rising cost of loans. Charles Nixon Yabua has been following this and has come through with this report.
The total bad debt as of June this year was 28.4% higher than the same period last year. This follows a strong rebound in credit growth as a result of easing in COVID-19 restriction. The growth in bad debt may continue if cost of borrowing continues to surge as a result of challenges facing the economy. According to the Bank of Ghana, notwithstanding the decline in the non-performing loans ratio, the increase in the stock of bad debt within the year indicated that asset quality risk persisted in the banking industry, but the decline in the industry's NPL ratio was most pronounced in the commerce and finance as well as mining and quarrying sectors, which recorded lower NPL ratios in June 2022. On the other hand, the agriculture, forestry and fishing, as well as the transport, storage and communication sectors recorded increases in their NPL ratios. Meanwhile, the NPL ratio for the construction sector remained the highest and was unchanged at 34.4%.
Meanwhile, financial analyst Christian Tichijan is projecting a further increase of bad loans on the books of banks due to current economic conditions, which have resulted in high interest rates.
We foresee it worsening because aside the conditions of COVID, that a lot of people were in lockdown, people were not opening their shops. We are in a dispensation now where cost of credit has also become very high, with T-bills now ranging around 28%. It's expected that loans will be around 33, 34, in some instances even 35%. And once the cost of borrowing becomes higher, already the businesses are actually burdened with repayments of principals and loans. So once the cost of borrowing becomes higher, it's expected that it will have a telling effect on their repayments. And obviously, with the current fundamentals of the economy, with our dollar that is appreciating so strongly against the cedi, people who do imports, once the products actually come or hit the market, then it becomes quite difficult in trying to match the cost price. So there will definitely be a higher amount being placed on it in terms of the margins that is making the goods get expensive. Once goods get expensive, it is natural that consumers might shy away from consuming in the first place. And so it becomes obvious that there's going to be some of these happenings where people will not be able to repay their loan.
The Bank of Ghana has ruled out reports of fuel shortage due to the lack of dollar support to finance oil imports. It follows a warning by former Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Petroleum Authority, Alex Mould. The country is struggling to import fuel because of the current currency issues. George Riafe has more.
Mr. Alex Mould, in a statement, maintained that the local banks do not have enough forest cover to support imports or meet their trading partners' needs. This might make it difficult to finance imports from October this year. But the Bank of Ghana has maintained that with its forest auction as well as other liquidity support, the country wouldn't get to this crisis moment. The Bank of Ghana maintains that with the 750 million Afri-Exim facility that should hit its account in the coming days, that will help with market confidence to deal with the current speculations that is also contributing to the city's depreciation. The regulator asked that these measures, including commencing discussions with the IMF for a program from next month in the cocoa loan syndication that should come in from October this year, all these measures should help stabilize the Ghana cedi in the last quarter of this year. That could ensure that the current challenge with dollar supply is addressed. Meanwhile, some of the commercial banks have told Joy Business that for now they have started taking local currencies instead of dollars as payment cover for crude oil importation, instead of restricting themselves to foreign currencies. They maintain that they see this as a short-term measure to help deal with the current challenge.
Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, Nana Amwesi VII, says Ghana has lost the opportunity to witness a reduction in the next pricing window due to the depreciating cedi. He spoke on the marketplace.
AES was equally expecting that for this window, we should see price reduction quite significant, not marginal one, more than 5% reduction. That translates into almost 68 pesos per liter. Unfortunately, we have lost out on that opportunity. The opportunity that was granted to us as Ghanaians is that international price of crude fell, the price of diesel on the international markets dropped by about 7%, that of gasoline dropped by 8.5% thereabouts. If you look at this, it could translate into a reduction in the local markets by roughly 5%. But unfortunately, we saw the cedi decline in value against the US dollar, the currency that the BDCs use to import the product. And the depreciation was quite huge, 5.5%. This kind of erode all the expected gains from the international market. So the forex losses is what has made us lose out on this opportunity. Compared to what the US citizens are enjoying today, they've seen a little fuel drop by close to $1 because international prices bode well for them and their own currency was also strengthened against other indicators. But we have lost out on the opportunity because of the forex losses.
Now, away from that, Managing Director of Yara Ghana, Dankwa Edu Yobo, is optimistic distribution of $20 million worth of free fertilizer to farmers will help boost production and ensure food security. The initiative is considered a mitigating factor to challenges farmers have endured for more than a year in accessing fertilizer. Mr. Edu Yobo was speaking at the launch of Yara's Grow Ghana project in Tema. Our correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
Yara International has committed $20 million to produce feed fertilizer for farmers in Ghana. About 100,000 smallholder farmers with farms up to 5 hectares would benefit from the distribution of 360,000 bags of fertilizers. This is expected to boost production of cereals up to about 500,000 metric tons. According to Managing Director of Yara Ghana, Danko Adoyobo, the Grow Ghana initiative is playing a part in ensuring the country's food security.
We expect that we would reach at least 100,000 smallholder farmers in the process. We expect that the package exercise that we're doing with the initiative will support food production of more than 500,000 metric tons of cereals, for instance. We are also working with a lot of retailers and distributors in the process. We have selected about 115 retailers and distributors to start with, and I believe the number will grow at a point. So we are also making sure that we are supporting the distribution chain and using the market systems approach. In order to ensure that the products will go to farmers, we are working in partnership with AFAP and other institutions. AFAP is our key implementation partner. They are going to help us on the ground to ensure that the plans we have and the execution is done. They will have people in the retail shops to help monitor the process. We have also put in place an IT tool, an IT platform that will ensure that we are having data and visibility over the distribution.
Agric Minister Dr. Efiri Yakoto was grateful and says the donation of fertilizer couldn't have come at a better time.
And in many areas, you can't even get fertilizer to buy because of the sheer shortage. So the intervention, the donation by the Yara International and Yara Ghana to bring to our farmers 20,000 metric tons of NPK is no mean donation. It is significant psychologically, physically to our farmers. And on behalf of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and the government of Ghana, I want to show our appreciation to Yara for such a donation. And it's very timely because now it's raining all over the place. Farmers are very busy both in the northern savannah, in the forest region, and this is the time for the application of fertilizer, so it couldn't have come at a better time.
Naisha Mohammed is the West Africa Implementation Lead and Ghana Country Manager for African Fertilizer Agribusiness Partnership, AFAP, which is implementing the initiative.
Our support is not going to just only be the monitoring and tracking. We're also going to be providing capacity building for farmers and also ensuring that farmers use the product adequately in the right way to also ensure that they do have the right productivity at the end of the day. This for AFAP is as part of our broad response as well. And this is not just going to be done in Ghana. We have the same similar initiative being launched in other countries under, as Danko said, the Sustain Africa initiative. And we hope that this would just be just one of the other many responses that are going to be implemented to ensure that farmers do benefit from the support.
Another partner in the initiative, USAID, believes working together would help achieve goal of the project. Amber Lily Kenny is the Acting Director of Economic Growth, USAID.
So USAID is supporting AGRA and AFAP to ensure that the Yara fertilizer gets to farmers in areas that are most fertilizer deficient. Smallholder farmers are having a very hard time accessing fertilizer. We are concerned about the effects on food security, and we want to be able to help mitigate that.
Meanwhile, Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, among other partners, have pledged in ensuring success of the initiative.
The Ghana International Trade Commission has begun hearing on alleged dumping of poultry products into the Ghanaian market, a situation likely to collapse the industry. According to the Commission, the investigation has become necessary due to the effect of such activities on job creation and food security. Here's a report.
The Ghana International Trade Commission is seeking to find an amicable solution to unfair trade practices that have been a hindrance to many Ghanaian businesses, including the poultry industry. The investigation of dumping in the poultry industry follows widespread agitation from local players about loss of jobs and quality of product in the market. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Frank Ejekun, believes the hearing will help in curbing all forms of unfair trade practices in the poultry value chain and promote healthy competition among the players.
And so they bring us the chicken bags, the chicken legs, the chicken feet, the chicken necks and stuff like that, which are almost at 0 rated. and they get them for napkins. So dumping them here costs nothing to them at all. So they're able to sell at whatever price, and our locals are able to take them. But in doing that, this also goes against our local productivity, and that goes to make people laid off and stuff like that. So it all comes back to hurt the economy, in the sense that the poultry farmers are not producing enough, they are not making enough profits, they cannot pay the taxes that they need to pay, and they are not expanding, people are being laid off, and we get back to the poverty cycle.
Chairman of Ghana National Association of Poultry Farmers, Victor Opon Ejay, told the commission that the situation is hurting the economy and part of the reason for the undue pressure on the local currency. He disclosed that about $600 million was used to import chicken last year.
About 600,000 metric tons, and in terms of birds, 569 million birds, and in terms its value over $600 million. We are saying that the imports are collapsing the poultry industry, as well as putting more pressure on the exchange rate, because it means every year we have to find over $600 million to import frozen chicken, whilst we can make the necessary arrangement to produce here to reduce that pressure that is coming onto our exchange rate.
Chairman of the Commission, Dr. Edu Jemfi, is hopeful that effective collaboration among stakeholders will help in dealing with the menace.
Chief Executive of Forestry Commission has assured beneficiaries of the Youth in Afforestation Program of payment of the allowance which has been in arrears. John Aluti says the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is collaborating with the Finance Ministry to pay the outstanding arrears. Beneficiaries of the program across the country embarked on an indefinite strike this month to demand the payment of their 6 months allowance arrears. My colleague Ohim Interior has more in the following report.
The Forestry Commission introduced the Youth in Afforestation Program 4 years ago to engage thousands of unemployed youths in the country. Several thousands of hectares of trees have been planted in forest reserves and off reserves. Chief Executive of Forestry Commission John Aluti acknowledged contributions of beneficiaries.
Youth in Afforestation Program, involves the youth who are, planting in the forest areas and some of the avenues we have, and open spaces that have been assigned to them. I would say this program has been running for the past 4 years, and they are doing very well. I would thank the youth for, helping, improve upon the landscape, both off reserve and on reserve. They've been doing a good job as we go to the districts. Even here today, when we came here to Mampo, you could see the work some of them have done.
But the program is faced with delayed payment of allowances. Beneficiaries of the program across the country embarked on indefinite strike this month to demand the payment of their 6 months arrears. Mr. Aluti acknowledged the beneficiaries deserve to be paid of their allowances, adding processes have begun to get the allowances paid as soon as possible. According to him, the Lands and Finance Ministry have been collaborating.
Once they do work at the end of the month, they deserve to be paid. Payment has been going on, but then there are, this program has been running, most parts of the program we've been having some arrears. As we speak today, we have some arrears there. Last time we paid them was in June, early June. But then there are, a couple of months arrears. We are working at it through our ministry. Our minister himself and the deputies and myself will be going to the Ministry of Finance, because the money comes from Ministry of Finance. The records have been submitted. Once funds are made available, it goes through the various steps and ends in their eSwitch accounts.
This assurance, perhaps, should come as relief to the beneficiaries. From Kumasi, for Joy News, I'm Interior reporting.
The socially excluded and marginalized persons in the Kumasi metropolis are set to be trained in green business for gainful employment. The training is part of a €2.5 million project funded by the European Union to improve sanitation in the metropolis. Now, as the population in Greater Kumasi grows, waste collection and management is becoming a challenge. There's more in the following report.
Project, dubbed Holistic Reinforcement for Sustainable Development HOREST project, is to improve public service delivery in waste management within the Kumasi metropolis. A strategic urban waste solid management plan has been developed as part of the project. Metropolitan Chief Executive Sampine says green jobs will be created to execute the waste management plan. He was speaking on the sidelines of an inaugural ceremony for the establishment of a green information plant.
Focusing on creating jobs from waste, this EU-funded project would assist people at risk of social exclusion who work informally in the waste sector and wish to develop an economic activity in the area of sustainable circular economy.
A sustainable entrepreneurship center has been set up to train the socially excluded and marginalized entrepreneurs. Trainees will be provided with seed capital and capacity building to set up their own businesses in the circular economy.
Through this project, a training plan will be carried out for those targeted in a school called Sustainable Entrepreneurship School. This school will empower these targeted population of Kumasi with the technical know-how, reliable data, and the financial resources needed to manage their businesses in circular economy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in line with the creation of the Sustainable Entrepreneurship School for promoting circular economy that the European Union has rented and refurbished a project of its dubbed Green Information Point.
A territorial management group made up of representatives of local and national stakeholders will oversee the project. Mona Lisa Frimpon reports.
Government has reaffirmed its commitment to support and expand various productive sectors of the economy to boost exports, a move it believes will help reduce perennial pressure on the local currency. According to Minister for Trade and Industry Alan Tremantin, government is aggressively pursuing various initiatives to diversify the country's economy. He was speaking at the opening of the 5th Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition.
Precision of the city and the hikes in inflation, Trade and Industry Minister Alan Tremantin said the government will enhance export and invest more into the industrial and manufacturing sector of the Ghanaian economy. He urged industries to adopt innovative ways to operate and support the growth of the economy.
So for us in Ghana, the key is to diversify our economy away from cocoa and gold. And in this regard, we are promoting 10 new strategic anchor industries. When you hear about Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan cars being produced in Ghana now, it is because of the vision that this government had in identifying new strategic sectors that will diversify our economy.
President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Eyim Dake, at the summit welcomed the increase in utility tariffs, describing it as progressive.
Electricity tariffs reviews, which have indicated a partial reversal of the cross-subsidy principle, is well acknowledged. This is in favor of SMEs and industries. These are not only progressive to our industrialization agenda, but also crucial to job and rejuvenation of the economy and the productive sector. Yesterday, we are aware the PURC published some reversal of tariffs. AGI over the years has advocated that a cross-subsidy principle has never been in favor of industries and business sector. The report of yesterday was very bold. Nonetheless, it was a partial reversal with the promise of quarterly, automatically adjusted formula.
According to the World Trade Statistics, Ghana export of goods and services as percentage of GDP is 35.84% and import of goods and services as percentage of GDP is 35.27%.
That's all for Prime Business here on the Joy News channel. Thank you so much for your time. We have more business when you log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Beverly Broom. We leave you with news making headlines on the international front. Up next is sports.